Guerrilla Filmmaking Video Diary Entry 1. This is right at the beginning. We've got a module booklet up here. Just had a quick read through of the 5 challenges we've got to make. Obviously I'm going to tackle question 1 first. And that is create a short film without using any moving images about what Europe means to me. Okay. Having never been to Europe, that's going to be a tricky one. Well, I guess I'll update you when I've come up with an idea for film number 1. Hey guys, time for another update. Just finished editing film 1. Just play it in the background for you. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see it, but it might be quite nice to have it playing in the background. I really like the way that the pictures came off. It does feel like you're there, but in a very detached way. It's kind of a nice representation of how I wanted to portray Europe, as if I have seen it. I've experienced lots of other people's stories through through them and their experiences. I've taken those aspects from Europe. Travel agent, I went down and got some travel brochures from there and put them over the top as well, because sales pitches are another thing. I've seen lots of adverts, like all-inclusive holidays, and I suppose that's another experience of Europe that I've had, because I haven't actually been there. I put that over it, and the map was to highlight that this is being Europe being shown. But also, while I was editing, I thought geography is another thing I know lots about Europe. And that was all learnt through books and everything as well. I originally thought maybe put some pages of a geography book over the top as well, but it didn't work. I'm still playing around with whether to put sounds over the top. At this time I'm thinking maybe have other people's stories involved in over the top, but the pictures in themselves are quite visually busy. They keep your eyes busy. I think if I have different stories, or I was thinking also different musics, because I've heard lots of music from nationalities in Europe. I thought maybe put that over, but I think it's just be a bit too much and might actually end up harming the effect I have overall. It did capture what I wanted, and I do think it is a bit too visually intensive, but the effect is there, and I was quite pleased with the way the hyperlapsing kind of turned out. I mean, of course, if you go and watch a video on actual hyperlapsing of people actually being there and doing the thing properly, then it's so much nicer. I mean, mine's a bit all over the place, and I feel like if I was able to hyperlapse properly, it would have been a lot smoother and easier to watch. Google Street View was a bit temperamental. Like, it wouldn't let me go certain places. I wanted to include all the places I want to go to at first, but it wasn't really possible because Google Street View obviously restricts you to certain viewpoints, and every now and then it will just jump you across the screen. But overall I am happy with it, and it does give off, I feel like, especially with the zoom out off of the computer, that you do get a sense of this is me, sort of, and my ideals of Europe through photos and experiences of not actually having been there. I do think it portrays that, and I think if you watch this film you do get that, so I'm quite happy with the overall structure and the meaning that the film gives across. Okay, I guess I'll update you when I've decided on the next film to do. Hey again guys, next update in Guerrilla Filmmaking. I've decided to make a silent film that consists of one long take about multiculturalism. This one was a bit of a funny one really, because I went away for the weekend and came back, spoke to my flatmate Seb, and we ended up having the same sort of idea to how to go about it, which was showing the diversity that is just outside that window right there. We eventually we got speaking, getting together and taking the best ideas from both of our ideas and putting them together. And what we've come up with is we are going to go down our high street just out there and speak to each individual shopkeeper Hopefully that might be a bit busy on foot traffic as well, so we might be able to stop and chat to some people in the street, we don't know. But for the shops, obviously we need to go and check whether we can actually go and film in there, or else I don't think it's going to be a very friendly environment when we run in with a camera and put it in their face and say hello to them. We might put them on the spot a little bit. So we're about to go out and do that now actually. We're going to go talk to all of the shops and we'll see where it goes. I guess I'll give you an update again in about 10-15 minutes and see where that's led us and see if we can do our idea. Hey guys, it didn't go too well. Surprisingly, not a lot of the shops are comfortable with having a camera inside them, or people aren't comfortable being on a film. I mean, we still got to know people in the shops, which is quite nice because we just moved here, and now we seem to be on first name basis with pretty much every shop down the high street, which is quite funny. Don't even think I'm that well known in my high street where I've lived my whole life, so that's a bit interesting. Either way, we've got a good amount of shops that are interested. Like, we have found some people that they're willing, like a couple of people actually really want to be on it. So we'll take the camera down there tomorrow and we'll film that. I mean, it's going to have sped up in between the shops, and then we're going to go into the shops and sort of I think the original idea was to shake their hand, but I think we're just going to greet them, they're going to greet us, and I'll put their names up and where they're originally from, and then we'll end back in our flat. I think we want to include the circuit because we want to show how close it is to our front door. So I'll update you again once I've got all the footage into my computer and given it a bit of an edit. Back again, here we go. Just finished editing our multiculturalism film. One long take, no cuts, and it has to be silent. I guess I'll do what I did last time, play it in the background. I'm not sure how well you're going to see it. It didn't show up too well on the last video, but it's nice to have it there. Oh, I've got sound on this one. Alright, so we started off in our flat like we said we would, sorry, and then went out and did that. The speeding up bits were a bit jarry. Like, I thought the camera cage we were using would lend itself to smoother motion, but it didn't, so that's quite visually busy on those bits. I've tried experimenting on After Effects, putting effects like warp stabilizer on it, and that didn't quite work. Then I tried putting some ghosting on it, that didn't quite work. It made it even more visually busy. So I left it how it was in the end. Going into the shops now, that really did end up working quite well. It does get across the point that we are literally just walking up our high street and we're going in, and we've got people from all different nationalities saying hello. I quite like that. I'm glad we didn't go with the handshake, it might have been a bit too much. The names are a really nice touch, I'm glad we did that. I think the names personalise everyone on the street, which is quite nice, because getting to know them, and obviously we got their names, where they're from, we had chats with everyone about that, and it really got us to know these people quite well. Like I said, I don't know half as many people on my local high street as I do here now. In fact, this feels more local to me than where I'm from. So that in itself was quite a nice experience from this. I picked a soundtrack from Amelie that we just went and showed in lectures actually, and William Brown did not like it, our lecturer did not like it. He associated it with the film that it's from, and I didn't actually know this, but the film in itself is not a very multicultural film. So I can see where he's coming from on that, but I don't think too many people have that connection, and I just like the music because it's quite happy, and I don't know, it's just quite happy. I think that's the main reason why I picked it. It just feels quite happy. I did think about changing it, but to be honest, I didn't make that connection. I don't think too many people will. I still don't really make that connection. I still feel that it's just like quite a happy song. So I guess some people will see it and not like it, some people will. I think the main thing that I like about this is having just moved here we now know pretty much every shop down the road, which is quite nice, going into the shops you can have a conversation. I guess all that's left to do is say bye, and I'll update you next time I have an idea for the next film. Okay, update for film idea number 3. This one was a tricky one, choosing between the films that were left. I feel like if this was a year ago, I could have quite easily done a film revolving around the student protests and everything, having been there. I kind of regret not filming it then, so I could have used some of that footage to make a film now. I was really struggling with it, and then I remembered I'd watched quite a few documentaries and read quite a few articles in recent months about Edward Snowden and the whole WikiLeaks thing, and that led me off to researching a lot about just internet privacy in general. And I found it quite interesting, the amount of information that can be held and put on a database about you purely just because you want to use their site, their certain site. I mean, the two main ones that I watched was and he's got a block of paper that he got off of Facebook that they have kept on him, and he said he'd only used it for like 2 years, so that was quite an interesting one. And also Instagram, in their terms of service, for a year had that they could use any photos uploaded onto their website for commercial purposes and not have to give you any of the money. Like, pretty much you upload a photo, that photo is no longer yours, it's theirs. There's lots of interesting branches coming off of that, so I thought to myself, well, I can make a found footage film of this, sorry. So I went down that route. I picked the found footage film about local concern to me. That it is a concern to me. I spend quite a lot of time online researching, writing, playing games. I do spend a lot of my time online. I just don't really like the fact that that can happen. Like, if I'm talking to my friend, that is all logged, and I don't feel like that's right. So pretty much, like I said, I've watched quite a few documentaries and news interviews about this and the sort of subjects and topics surrounding this. So my found footage is obviously going to be heavily based on those things that I've watched. Sort of create my own point of view out of it and try and just sort of like get across to some people that their internet security may not be as good as they thought. So yeah, I'll update you when I can. Alright, hey again guys, just finished editing the found footage film. It's getting a bit close to deadline week, so I think this will probably be the last film I make. So I'll play it in the background like I have done on all the other ones when I finish them, and I'll talk about how it came together, and sort of did it convey what I wanted it to convey. I think what's important about this one is it's probably my least favourite. I mean, I feel like the other two conveyed a good meaning, a strong meaning about them. But this one, I don't know, I kind of lost it in the editing a little bit. I feel like I should have edited it a little bit better. I mean, I'm still going to touch up on a few things, brush up on a few things, and see if I can like flip it around and stuff, but I'm not too happy with it at the moment. But like I said, deadline's coming up, so just go on to that a little bit. I've pretty much taken the bits out of things that I have watched that surround internet privacy and a few of the main topics around that, and I tried to structure them in a way that sort of just got across to whoever's viewing this, just to sort of like rethink how private what they put up online is, and maybe it's worthwhile to check up on the terms, but no one's going to read that whole thing, but maybe it's worthwhile to just do a little bit of research into what information you're giving out. online. I think it does do this. I mean, it takes lots of industry experts and sort of has their own personal views. It's very personal in their aspects, and I do feel like someone that watches this would kind of double think, like rethink how sort of private things are online, and that is the main objective of why I wanted to make this film. It's to just sort of like get people to reevaluate that. And I mean, even if like 20, 30 people see this, that's 20 or 30 people that are going to sort of rethink how they use the internet and how they treat the internet and their relationships with the companies that are perhaps infringing on their privacy through the terms and conditions on their websites. I think it's time to try and get this message out there to a lot of people that this is happening, because especially on researching this, I don't think too many people either care that this is happening or know that this is happening, or a lot of people's thoughts were, I've got nothing to hide, why does it matter? Which is, I suppose, is a valid point, but I mean, I don't feel like it's right that just because you're using their website that they are allowed to compile all of this information on you at any given moment. So it's a bit of a grey area. Lots of people have their own opinions, but I'm just hoping that the main objective of this film was to, if like myself you're completely oblivious to this sort of subject, that it would sort of interest you into researching a little bit more about it in your own time, and sort of like just getting you to reevaluate how you're using the internet. I guess I'll speak to you after deadline, after I've handed in all the films and given a couple of the films a chance for people to watch them, because at the moment not too many people have seen them. I guess my next update would just be sort of talk about people's reactions to them, and if I feel like that film achieved what I wanted it to achieve, and my feelings on... Oh, my computer has just crashed on Premiere Pro, so hopefully I saved that. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Hey guys, final update. Sort of a little bit of a reflection on how things went on the 3 films I made. Just had a look through on everywhere that I've posted videos. I think like altogether they've only had about probably 100 to 150 views on every single site and platform that I've uploaded them to, which isn't a great number. I was hoping for more, but 150 is still a large audience to have seen the films that I have made. A lot of the feedback that I've got off of them is, for the first film, is pretty good. I feel like the first film was the best film in the fact that the meaning that I wanted to convey in that film, a lot of people were able to see that meaning. The feedback I got from that one was really nice. I think a lot of people can relate to that, and they really got the meaning of the film that I wanted to convey, which was really nice because it was that was the most personal film I made out of the 3. The second film, obviously that one was quite a sort of collaborative process with Seb, and we did get both what we wanted out of that film. I'm still talking to the local butchers and the local shop across the road on almost daily basis. They're really friendly people. It's quite nice when I go in to buy some bacon to be able to have an actual chat to someone. So that is what I've taken from that film, and I really do think that that film got across the point that we were trying to convey, even though it was quite simplistic. I think in the end, after watching it back several times and showing it to people, it was really simplistic, and I feel like maybe a change of the music would have been a nice choice, or I think I'd maybe tidied up the editing on it a little bit, but the thing is, it was all one take, so you didn't have too much freedom on that, and unfortunately a lot of the shops didn't want to participate, so we had to go quite a long way up and quite a long way down to get a nice general feel of how multicultural this street is. But I think it was a nice representation of how you can walk out your door and there is so many different nationalities in this country and in other countries in general, and I think it's a step in the right direction, because like a multicultural society is lots of nationalities living together. I mean, at the moment it's not to the point where we don't even consider nationalities to be a large point in society itself, which I feel would really be the best sort of multicultural outcome. I mean, I've never really thought about this subject matter before making that film. I think that film's the one that I've probably reflected on the most. I had no strong views on multiculturalism myself, really, but I've taken away from that, and I think I've learned a lot of that from that film. I'm not going to proclaim that I have a great understanding of it, but I have educated myself in it a little bit, and that film was quite well received as well. It got the message across, and I hope that it helped highlight people to feel that we are already a multicultural society. It's just we need to embrace it more, I feel. Yes, on to film 3 then. Reflection on film 3. Film 3 is pretty much what I said. I feel like the editing let me down. I know it was a found footage film, but I don't feel like I put enough of a personal touch upon that film. I feel like maybe it's because I was reading and watching and researching upon that subject as I was making the film. I hadn't quite come to my own conclusions or strong point of views. I was still at the early sort of stages myself on formulating my own opinions on the matters. Lots of people did watch it. I think I showed that to a lot of people, that one. Lots of people. That one was a funny one. I got very different reactions from a few different people. Lots of people completely agreed with what was being said on the screen. Lots of people didn't. Lots of people said it was paranoid. Lots of people said, what does it matter? We're not doing anything. I don't care if they have that information on me. It was very interesting actually to see all the different points of views on that film. I just really wish I had edited one main sort of personal sort of opinion on that film that people could have taken away with them, or argued with that one point of view, or argued with my ideals on that subject. But it ended up being them sort of taking the research effects and then just sort of arguing with certain points in the film, other points they'd agree with. It was kind of a bit all over the place on that, and I wish I just put that film into more of like a one specific thing to take away from it, where in actual fact it did end up sort of looking like I just pieced together what I had watched. I mean, at the time I felt like I was touching upon all the points that I was reading about, and I was really happy with it, but watching it back now is it didn't come across how I really wanted it to. I guess that's something I've learned from it. I feel like films that I make in the future, I will probably make the final cut, leave it 2 to 3 weeks, then watch it back and see what changes I want to make before I actually release it to my YouTube channel and other things like that. I feel it was quite an interesting lesson to learn that one. In general, I feel like I've got my film out there. I feel like they've been seen. I feel I have given people some ideas to think about, and I guess that's what I want. I just wanted people to see my ideals on things, take messages from my films, argue about it, slate me for it. I mean, anything that I've taken from it. If they're reacting to it, they're reacting to my film. which is nice to see, and I think this is probably the biggest audience I've had for any sort of videos I've made in the past. And it was quite nice to get that many views and that many opinions, and see how my films were taken in from audiences and their reactions to it. Yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching my video diaries. I hope it hasn't been too boring.